Welcome to Voiceprint with Trevor Devall and Guests. And now, your host and mine, Trevor Devall.
The furious, mad sound of applause, as always, greets you, my devoted listeners, as you tune in for the next episode of Voiceprint with Trevor Devall and Guests. I am your intrepid host, Trevor Devall. Hello, welcome back. It's been a long time. I've been out and about in the world. I was out in Geneva, and I was in Rome, and I was in London, but now I'm back in sunny Vancouver. And prepared to do another show, which is why we're here. Episode 18. 18 lovely episodes. My God, it's been very successful, and I thank you all for listening. Before we get into the show, I have a request of you, my devoted fans. First of all, I think on the Facebook page right now, we're up to something like 135 members or something, which is pretty cool considering I haven't done really anything to promote the show. So that means that all of you guys out there are busy promoting the show, which is exactly what I wanted and why I started this contest idea, which is still on, by the way. For those of you who may be new to the show or who have forgotten, there is still a contest on, which will go for the next 2 episodes at least. And what the contest is if you can show direct evidence that you have promoted the show somehow on the internet or whatever, then your name will go into a draw for a grand prize at the end of our second season, which is at the end of episode 20. And what the grand prize is a copy of all the Voiceprint episodes signed by the guests. Ha ha. So probably several CDs, I'm guessing. Anyway, yeah, that's the deal. So if you want to join in that contest and you haven't submitted anything yet, by all means, send in your stuff to fans@trevordevall.com or voiceprint@trevordevall.com. Doesn't really matter. But what the actual favor is I am looking to... I want to know what other podcasts you guys are listening to out there, if any, that have to do with animation or anime or anything like that. Because I want to listen to them and I want to see what other people are doing. And also, I would love to be able to sort of exchange bumpers and promos. Get a little more advertising on the show. Not that there's anything wrong with Kyle's show. It's a great show, but 18 episodes now, it's been the only real commercial, really. Except for, little things here and there. So I would like to know what you guys are listening to out there. Because I would love to be able to, like I said, do a little crush promotion with some other shows. So if you know of any shows about animation, by all means, send them in to me and let me know. Anyway, this is episode 18, and I want to get on with the show. We have a very, very, very funny man today. I'm very happy to have him on. And he can't believe that I've actually found a clip of his work. So what I want to do is play the little clip and see if he remembers this little gem.
Some timing showing up now after the criminals are long gone. Looks like production deadlines aren't the only ones Toys of the World can't meet.
That's not nice. Besides, our power suit's way better than yours.
You've got bad taste.
Yeah, at least our suit has spandex in it. I hear yours is made out of recycled cans and diapers.
We're helping to save the environment. And we don't lower ourselves to fleshy ads with gratuitous cleavage shots.
She's just jealous of your double D cups. Isn't that right, Neverloid girl?
Yeah, sure.
You better make sure that namby-pamby diaper boy doesn't beat you.
Chill out. Your brain can't take all that thinking.
Pardon?
I mean, yeah, sure thing. Everything's cool as long as I win, right?
I'll have you know that our Dakoita is a maniacal killing machine on legs, Neuraloid girl. If you get in his way, he'll claw you into shreds.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Lee Tockar!
Oh, that's unbelievable. Where do you get these things?
I have superpowers.
It's unbelievable that you found. Wow.
Yes.
Well,
do you know what that show was? Do you
know,
remember?
and I knew you were going to ask that. And so I prepared this little statement. No. You see, it's like digging. I go in and I do a thing and I talk into a phone ball and then someone pays my rent at the end of the month. I don't know what I do. I do remember Higsby from Mega Man and all that stuff.
That's nice.
Yeah, but I don't know. Not that. What's that?
That was a show called Daikoida.
With the thing in the final line.
It's not a show I'm familiar with.
No, me neither, actually.
I know,
But
as is always the case.
Thank you so much for delving so deep
It's
into
what I do, into your past,
That's
into your
unbelievable. I don't know who you pay or what you give them. But
You don't want to know,
It's
pal.
gotta be good.
You don't
It
wanna
ain't just
know.
chickens and goats, I tell you that much.
All right, well, let's get rolling. We always like to begin the show with a little glimpse into your history.
And now, Voiceprint with Trevor Devall and Guests presents In Memoriam, a history of our guests' long and faithful service to the cause of voice acting.
I feel like this is a eulogy. Lee was a good man, a bit cuckoo, a good man.
As I've said before, that's because if you're on Voiceprint, you've hit the bottom. You've hit the actual bottom.
Oh my God! First I sold diapers, and now I'm on Voiceprint with the thing. Oh wow!
So as our fans know, I go through the ever-popular IMDb site in order to find, if not an accurate representation of your work, at least a long one. And you are no exception to the length rule, my friend. Oh, it's their joke here. This goes on for
what they all say.
several pages, and it's sort of theoretically in order from most recent to older. But the first one here is, of course, Johnny Test.
Oh yes,
Bling,
I play
bling.
the evil bling bling boy, and I'm always trying to get Susan Test to go on a date with me, but she never will. Oh.
Now that show, you guys are in your
Fourth season. We
fourth
just got
season
picked
now.
up again. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Yes, it's amazing because nowadays they don't have the cartoons. They don't last. Nothing's got legs anymore.
Right.
We're in a quick, fast generation where things happen very fast, and they don't want it. They got a one-joke wonder that lasts one season, and then they kill it. That's
Right.
George of the Jungle, everything. Nothing lasts anymore. So
Although-
we're happy to do 4 seasons.
No
It's pretty
kidding.
good.
That is a great testament to the
Well,
writers and actors and
Yeah,
directors.
Scott Fellows, great writer, creator, writer. Oh, he's
Well, I've seen the show, and it's one of those shows, one of the few shows that I watch that I laugh out loud at. So
Yeah,
it's
and I
very
really
good.
don't know what it is about it. The writing is funny, but why it lasts and others don't isn't so much saying that the others aren't great, but this one is really good.
That's right. And as we've seen, you and I have been involved in some shows.
We
that
have
maybe,
lots of shows
Maybe we
together.
were hoping that would have gone another season, but didn't so much.
Not so
But we'll
much.
come to those all in good time. I'm just sort of picking out some highlights here. One that jumps out is you did an episode of Edgar and Ellen, or perhaps a couple of episodes of Edgar and
I
Ellen.
did, and don't remember what I did with that either. I think
Mr.
Dirty Joe, was the...
Mr. Poshy is what they've got listed here. Does that make any
Mr.
sense?
Poshy, yes. I think I did sort of a James Stewart sort of a thing. Well, hey! So, and of course it is coming around the Christmas festive time, so it is that, your movie house. Merry Christmas, your movie house. Merry Christmas, Mr. Potter! Merry Christmas to you too, in jail.
And the next one here is in the Christmas spirit. At least we recorded this particular show during Christmas time, and I think it's fitting. The Ten Commandments, of course. The animated, and I believe it was Christian Slater who wound up playing Moses.
Yes. I almost punched him out one night. Really? Yeah, I was at a party, and then he. No, it's another.
I told me this story.
And he was not a very.
I remember.
No, I can't say that
No,
to
we don't.
Christian. You're a lovely man. He's a lovely man. Terrible actor. Lovely.
So you played Dathan in the Ten Commandments. And
Was it?
The Dathan. So
Yeah.
Were
the,
you doing
the Edward
the
G.
Edward G. Robinson
Yeah,
thing?
I did do a kind of a. Oh, where's your? What did I can't even remember. Where's the Messiah now?
This is a show. That we did.
You know what? I have to say that show. I met the producers of that show, Chris Chesser, who he and Karen Glasser, his companion there and co-producer there, and they did the rundown with The Rock and all these really cool things that you'd never think that they did that were live action things. And I met them, and we had Sir Ben Kingsley,
Wow.
that played I think the voice of God.
Yes, that's
and we
right.
had Elliot Gould who played
was
Moses.
Pharaoh. He was Pharaoh.
Pharaoh, yes. And unbelievable cast. And you know what? It looks great on paper. Never met them.
I know.
I know.
I did a little stint on the show. I was like Moses' dad in the
that
teaser,
was you.
basically.
That was amazing.
Honey, the Egyptians are coming. Quick, put the child in the basket.
Unbelievable.
Yes,
I was
it was a
wondering
work of
who
art.
that was. Yeah.
Yes, it was a work of art. 3-2-1 Penguins is another one here, which you guys did.
Yes, I played Dr. Fidgel, I believe.
Yes, that's correct.
Yes.
Dr. Fidgel. That was at Airwaves, and
It was,
You
yeah.
guys did 26 episodes of that,
Possibly. It was a lot.
and it was a remake of another show, wasn't it? Wasn't it a
Yeah,
remake of
I think
itself
it was.
or something?
I think it was sort of along the lines of a right-wing fundamentalist Christian picnic kind of thing.
seriously?
Well, because it was supported by the right.
Really?
Yeah. And so all the things had it was kind of a loosely based morality play within every episode.
Are you serious?
No, it was, which is fine. I mean, it's, teaching the kids at home something good, yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah. But it was all but it was really, if you've ever seen it, and I've seen a couple of them, so the animation was unbelievable. It was second to none. It was unbelievable. They looked really good, slick, 3D, 2D sort of thing. Just
Wow.
CGI,
But
unbelievable.
But great animation, and the moral of the story would always be things like slag the Democrats, lower
things
taxes,
like that.
things like
yeah,
this.
yeah. Don't cheat on your taxes.
Right, you know.
Stop beating the old lady.
that
Stuff
kind of stuff.
like
I
that.
see. Very nice.
The
The next one, and this is another show that I think is laugh out loud funny, is of course George of the Jungle, and I am pleased to say that you were George.
And I'm George.
There you go.
Yeah, so which sounds a lot like me, but dumber, really, a bit. Yeah. So,
you
yeah.
do. I've had the pleasure of doing several episodes with you, and you do a great job. I must say.
I thank you very much,
Yes,
Mr.
no,
Devall. That's very kind of you.
It is.
Very generous. of you.
And that's another show that I've said before on Voiceprint that I'm proud to be a part of because it is so funny when you watch
It is so funny. And you know what? It's not coming back. I found out today.
It's not.
I found out today. You heard it here. I just found out today. Hot off the presses. George of the Jungle will not be coming back.
Why not? I thought they were doing really well.
This is right from. We were number one on Cartoon Network, but we heard it right from. I heard it right from. Well, I don't know if I can say, but it was a friend of a friend who might have been doing some music on some of the.
I know you're talking about.
It's not coming back. And
that's a shame.
I don't know
because-
if it's the economy because our dollar is down up here in Vancouver. So once the dollar drops, then Southern
Right.
companies come up here
Right.
to get the cheap Mexico North. where the Mexican labor up here.
What are you suggesting, man?
I will make the funny for you. See, whatever, Joanne.
Hey, man, I want to tell you guys in the States right now, you can come up here to Vancouver, man. Because, true, all of your cartoon characters are going to sound like this. But, you know what I mean?
Plus, we'll detail your car. But
Well,
yeah,
that
so
sucks,
it's
'cause
not,
George-
it's not coming back.
Well, here's a show that I'm sure will come back, which is unfortunate because I was never on it, and you were only on it for one episode.
One episode of Stormhawks. Oh my
Yeah,
god!
so you know what? I'm not even going to talk about Stormhawks anymore. To hell
I'm
with it. I'm so angry.
I understand. I know. I get. He's got a little vein that sticks out
I
in his
do.
forehead.
It's
like scanners.
Deep uncastable thrombosis is what they call that.
Yeah.
Puka is another show.
Oh, that was fun. Yeah, I
Yes.
played 3 characters on
Yes,
that.
you did.
Yeah.
Abio, Dada, and I don't know.
Dada was amazingly funny. Dada, no, my favorite episode was when Dada got really cool and he all of a sudden turned into Gary Grant. I loved it. That was a lot of fun. And
Abio was just, I wore very tight shorts whenever I had to do him.
and I don't remember the other one.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Very funny. Puka, good show. Good show.
Puka was very fun. That was a Studio B project.
Yes.
Really, really funny stuff. Yeah, I really enjoyed that one.
I only ever got to do one of those episodes. They had Terry Clausen called me, the director, called me and said, "You do Australian, right?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "I need you to call the producer and do an Australian accent."
No
Weirdest
pressure.
audition ever. Really bizarre. So I called, "Hello? Are you looking for me? I'm not entirely certain." They said, "Yeah, that's fine. Come in tomorrow and play this guy." So, of course, they wanted this crocodile hunter guy.
Of course.
And yeah, so that's fine, whatever.
It was the day he died. It was
Yes,
very
yes,
sad.
it was. It was the day after. I felt terrible.
Yeah, I remember you being on that, but it was very good. I wish we would work more together. We've done some Dragon Booster.
Dragon Booster is on the list. We'll come to that. And speaking of working together, The Very Good Adventures of Yam Roll and Happy Kingdom.
Hey,
Now,
hey!
here's the show.
Yeah.
I've only saw a couple of episodes.
They're funny.
Very funny stuff.
I've
You,
got a
of
DVD
course,
that I should give you.
Definitely. Because, why?
Why?
Not
Because-
only were you Yamroll, the
I
lead
was,
on that, and
but
also we
wrote some of them.
episodes of that show.
Yes,
together.
we did.
And I thought our episodes were very funny.
I thought they would be funniest, actually. Because I'm a little bit subjective.
There was that one I saw about the mustache.
Yeah.
Where
Oh,
he's
yeah.
driving along and the mustache comes in out of nowhere and slaps him. And the funniest line I ever heard was,
It's okay! I have a mustache!
oh, that was so awesome. He comes across, he's a taxi driver. The show is that he's a Yamroll. It's the whole show
They're
is
all
like
sushis.
they're all sushi characters
This
talking
predates
sushi.
Sushi Pack.
That's
doesn't it?
right.
Yes,
That's right.
it does. Yes.
And he's driving a cab and he comes across the scene of an accident and he comes out and people are panicking and he gives this line, which is
It's okay! I have a mustache!
And I think I peed a little. 'cause
Just
I
a
laughed
little
so
came
hard.
out, just a teaspoon there.
Oh, it was very good. Here's another one that I dare say will probably not get a second season. That is Alien Racers. And played-
You had an amazing role on that, and I remember you thrashing your voice as the race announcer in every episode.
Every single
I was
one.
constantly amazed. Listeners to Voiceprint, I at this point I think that we should give a little tip of the hat, a nod, a wave, a wink, a smile, a little bow maybe to your intrepid host, because this man can thrash his chords like I've never heard anyone thrash them before. Literally, I expected to hear on the little spit guard. We have this spit guard that sits in front of the microphones. Sometimes it would be red with blood.
That's dedication for you, man.
That's dedication, baby.
Well, thankfully.
Oh,
Yeah, it was a fun show. Sort of
Yeah.
a weird show. Alien Racers, of course, about aliens who race. Mm-hmm. And you were
Commander Necral, or something I was.
So you had the throat-wrecking
Well,
voice
no,
with
yes,
that guy, yeah.
that was
Holy
pretty
man.
bad. But not as much as you, because I didn't have as many lines, and I think I also played some. I drove this. I was navigator number one. I don't know. Maybe you know me as navigator number one.
He's going to get a spin-off series, though, I'm pretty sure.
I'm still waiting for my agent. I've been waiting for 2 years, but
Do you remember a show called Mucha Lucha?
I do remember Mucha Lucha. Yes, I do recall that.
El Loco Mosquito.
I was a loco mosquito, see? Speaking of Mexico Norte, yes, you know? So, a loco mosquito was just talking very fast and everything. He's a very crazy guy, you know? It's always, I drink about 14 cups of coffee, eat some chocolate-covered coffee beans, and then I'm ready to go. See? Hey!
Oh, awesome. And, of course, Dragon Booster, which we talked about. Dragon
Yes.
Booster, which is really
I
the
thought-
first time that we worked together on any sort of extended
basis.
Extended
Yeah,
basis.
yeah.
We did 39 episodes of that
I know,
show.
and you were
Nerd Course
fantastic.
first.
You were, of course,
Thank
the
you.
evil dark character.
Dark Mordred Payne, which
Yes,
is nice.
yes.
And,
I played the nerd Parmin Sean, who was constantly worried that everything was facts and figures, and we shouldn't do this because something terrible is going to go wrong, and I've gone over all the calculations and everything's and inevitable. I don't know why. I think the show never came back because the unwritten episode is where I have an aneurysm,
Yes.
fall
Exactly.
dead on the side of the
Exactly.
track.
I have to tell you that when I teach, I use segments of Dragon Booster to sort of illustrate actors' choices and how they can sort of make stronger choices and things. And I use your Parmesan
Really?
all the time.
That's awesome.
All the time.
That is so nice of you and everything. Do I get paid for that?
You don't know. But then again, neither do I. Hardly.
It's
But it
cool,
is.
too. Why, thank you very much.
Yeah, no, it's true. I think that out of a lot of the actors that I've had the pleasure of working with, I've always appreciated your characterizations. And you know what else, too? Now, this is sort of, I wanted to bring this up in the second half of the show, but while we're here, I find it fascinating that when you do an audition, you come in prepared with like multiple different versions of each character. That's a tremendous amount of work.
Yeah.
And obviously it pays off.
And I don't know why other people don't. And because you come from stage background as
Right.
well, and as do I did 15 years of stand-up.
Yeah.
And I did stage. I did Sex, Drugs, Rock and Roll. John Jesus Murphy directed me in that, and a couple other things. Limited, but what I took away from that was get off book. And most people don't because we're lazy as voice actors. We have the paper in front of us and, hey, what do I care? I can read it off the freaking page. I've got it right here. But I've always tried to get off book, and I do prepare at least 2 or 3 voices per character.
That's some dedication.
Well, you don't know what they're going to want. And chances are, and as you know, and we all know, when we get in there and they say, okay, we want you to prepare an English thing. So when you come in, you do an English thing. And then when you get in, they go, yeah, we're thinking not so much English. We'd like to do Chicago or whatever.
Or Spanish Jew or something.
Yes, exactly. And so I have my take, and I have the take that they've given in the notes, and then what I think that they might be after, really, based on the sides, and then something out of left field that I like.
Yeah. See, that's very cool. And if I wasn't quite so lazy, I would do the same thing. But alas,
I actually, it cost me a lot of money. I actually pay a very good actor in L.A. a lot of money, and he sends me I'm on Voice 1, 2, 3, and I pretend I'm a producer that's looking for this audition, and I get so many ideas.
G.I. Joe Valor versus Venom.
Don't remember it.
But you were number characters. One that leaps out is Beachhead. And I remember that because when I was a kid, I had G.I. Joe action figures.
I was Beachhead?
You were totally Beachhead.
Are you sure I was Beachhead?
Well, I'm not sure. This is IMDb, and you never know.
It might be me. It might be Matt Hill. Might be. We were interchangeable for a couple of years there.
Yes, it could be.
Couple
it could be. Very difficult to tell. What else have we got here? Ark. Now, this is a movie I like to bring up because it was fun to do. And you, in this movie, do you remember Ark? Not so much?
Yeah.
Now it was a small role you had, but it was a gooder because you were a total bastard.
Was I really?
Oh Lord, you were just like you make Kirby's character drink oil, and then you want to shoot him with your bang bang gun. And
that sounds familiar, right?
Yeah, you were just a meanie.
Well, it was a phase. I was a lot of tax troubles at that time.
Oh, we've got so many. The Bionicle series.
Yes, I played Makuta, the mask,
big bad guy.
Yeah, the Mask of Darkness.
Yes,
I recall. Then they phased and pitched it and everything.
Yeah. But I remember when we were in the rehearsal for that.
Light.
Yeah, and you were doing that voice, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then and frankly, I would have actually preferred just to hear your version of it rather than phase it. I mean, it still sounded good, but
I know, and on they did that to me twice. I wish I could have been natural without being phased on that, and then I did on the. On what's it called, where I played Covert Agent Ravage, and it was a half Panther on Beast Wars.
Oh, yeah,
I was the last covert agent. I was the Covert Agent Ravage that actually in the last in the second to last season, I was the one that Decepticon that blew up the planet or something like that. And it was a Russian accent like this, and then they phased it, and nobody could even know it was me.
They did that to me on what did they do? Inuyasha. They did that to me. I was playing this big dragon thing named Ryokutsu or something like that.
Ryokutsu.
And I watched the episode, and I was like,
God, that could be anybody. That could be anybody. That's funny. Doesn't sound like me at all.
I know.
Silverwing.
Yes, I think I played some
Luger,
and
Hector.
Of the wolves.
I don't even know.
I don't even know.
Let's get into some stuff some other stuff here. You did some episodes of X-Men Evolution. A character named Lucid. Mucha Lucha again.
In the last Iron Man, there was Iron Man 2.
Which isn't on here. Who did you play in the Iron Man series?
I played...
Which I don't think has been released yet.
No, it's not. No, I don't think so. We're going to have to snip and cut, because I can't remember for the life.
That's okay, because I have a feeling Ocean probably won't want us to talk about this anyway.
Ooh, right. Wait a minute. What I really meant was...
Iron Man, the stage play.
Yes, the radio play.
Yes, for the Vernon Auxiliary Women's Club and Garden Party. I played a little character called Flower Number 3, and...
Exactly. Jeez, that was close.
Now, Mega Man here.
Yes, I played
Mr. Higsby.
But you know what? I can't remember what I sounded like, and I did so many episodes of that. I know it sounded a lot like me. So maybe you could have somebody send in.
I would love to go. You hear that, kids? If you have any clips of Mr. Higsby from Mega Man, then send them into Voiceprint at TrevorDevall.com.
Because thank you, and because I'd love to have that on my reel.
I'm sure there's somebody out there. With
when I did my very first Con, what was it? It was the Evolution.
The Anime Evolution.
Anime Evolution in Vancouver, my very first one.
And that was just this year.
It was just a little while ago. It was my very first one, and they totally made me feel like at home and actually at one point I said, I want to thank everybody, so cool, all these people, they're dressed up crazy and weird, and you guys are just like my people. And they all in unison they said, one of us, and I got goosebumps. It was amazing. But one of the things that stood out because they had updated my resume, and this IMDb thing was nothing before that, really.
Right.
It's all these great fans.
The fans always know more about our careers than we do.
I know.
That's the thing. So thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Thank you so
and
much.
Incidentally,
but they was
too,
like, Mega Man, you played Higsby. And I'm like, yes, I did. I can't remember. I can't believe that
I know. Don't you hate it when that and it happens all the time?
Yeah.
Lee wants to do way more conventions, by the way, kids.
Yes, I do. So please invite me.
That's right. Get on the email and get these people to invite him out there.
Thank you, Trevor. That was very nice. Because I do. I
It's true,
really
he
am.
does.
So I'm very excited
And
about
you know
it.
what? Actually, get them to invite both of us because we want to do it together. We want to go to the same convention.
fun and things.
And by the way, I forget who exactly it was who did this, but I made this request before about getting because I've done a live version of Voiceprint as a panel at these cons, and it went tremendously
That was
well.
with you and Brian Dobson.
No, that was a different one.
was it
I
done
actually
twice?
did like this, but in front of a live studio audience.
Oh, wow.
So it
Okay,
was kind
I
of
didn't
cool.
know.
Did that with Vic
Sorry.
Mignogna, and I want to do more of those. So the fans have actually written to the conventions in their area, getting them to ask me to come. So it's kind of cool. So if they do it for me, they'll do it for you.
That's awesome. And you know what? I know that because I was looking online and it shows all the places in the world where that actually happens and things like that. You know, I've always really liked Dublin. Just thought I'd throw that out. I just want to throw that out. That's
And by the way, I'm a big fan of Australia myself, so if there's anything down there, we'd be really happy to go. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer in the Island of Misfit Toys.
This was a coup, and I was so happy to play it because I played. Because when you're a kid and you play, it was a remake.
Yeah.
And so when you're a kid and you see all the claymation stuff, and then you hear it, and I got to play Charlie in the Box.
Oh, wow.
I got. Oh, 2 goals there. Oh, well, that's okay. Nobody wants to play with a Charlie in the box. And I was just like, I can't believe you guys are letting me do this.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
was
It's nice.
one of the rare moments that you go, yep, that's what I'm in it for.
There's a whole bunch of stuff here. You did some work on Soul Taker, which you probably don't remember. That's a few years ago.
That's a while back, yeah.
What about Mimi? Sitting Ducks? Secret Agent Man. Secret Agent Man, isn't that live? No?
I was really hoping that you wouldn't ask me because those last 3 Sitting Ducks, long time ago, don't remember. What about Mimi? I do remember, but I couldn't tell you what I did. Secret Agent Man. Secret Agent Man was live. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. I did because it was a brief stint there when I first got into acting on out of comedy.
Right.
And I did 10 auditions and I got 6 roles. Right out of the gate, and I was like, "Wow, this is amazing! I can do on-camera stuff." And then I started to get so much work doing voiceover, I couldn't do it, and I really didn't like it. Though.
No, neither did I. We're the same on that. The on-camera thing, not so much with that.
No.
Dragon Ball Z. Naturally, you did your stint on that. A character named Guru, apparently.
Guru, yep.
Beast Wars Transformers, of course. Ravage. Jinro, the Wolf Brigade, which is a very cool sort of. It was a movie. It
was dark.
Yeah, it was very, very dark.
Yeah.
All kinds of stuff here. The Wacky World of Tex Avery. is another one here.
Yeah. I played a couple characters
Yes,
on that.
Genghis, Little Buddy.
Yes, yeah.
What else?
Death Note. That was another
Death Note. Yes, of
another
course.
Death Note. Yeah, I played a couple of the Death Notes. The evil voices of the underworld.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
That's
the
cool.
demons
Very
and stuff
popular
like
show.
that.
As a matter of fact,
Loved doing those.
I think next week I'm going to a screening of the Death Note live action movie. What? Yes.
Why didn't I get an
I
invitation?
don't know.
That was...
I barely qualify. I'm hardly in it.
Well, me too, technically, but
It's always nice to be invited somewhere.
Isn't
I like
it?
to
I
get
really
out.
enjoy it.
Oh, so many. Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Long time ago.
So many, long time. Conan the Adventurer.
First gig.
First gig ever.
Wow.
Wow.
My first gig ever.
So many, many. Now, you're a man of great versatility, and it is my pleasure to have you on the show. But let's take a little break, and when we come back, we'll talk a little more about how you got in, some advice for the newcomers, some of your favorite moments, and then we'll take some questions from the fans. So don't go away, kids. We'll be right back with Voiceprint episode 18, Lee Tockar.
We interrupt this eargasmic cornucopia of pure audio wind to shamelessly promote another podcast.
No!
The Big Bald Broadcast.
But what makes it big and bald? The Big Bald Broadcast brings you news on all things geeky, movies, gadgets, games, cartoons, and anime, and other random fandom.
You're fired.
I'm fired.
Get out of the booth, Jack.
No, I like it in here.
But what makes it big and bald? It's hosted by big, bald anime and video game voice actor Kyle Hebert and his co-host, musician and upcoming author, Otherworld Steve.
Oh, you must smell like feet wrapped in leathery burnt bacon.
Subscribe via iTunes or visit thebigbaldbroadcast.blogspot.com.
That was totally wicked!
Hello, friends. Do you love you some Leonardo? Go mad from a heart? Or dare to totally dig the adventure? Then this, my friends, is for you. Hero and a Half Shell is a Facebook fan group dedicated to the voice talent that is Michael St. Nicholas. Here you can talk about the man himself, your encounters with him at conventions, shows he's worked on or is working on, anything at all. So come on by and check us out today. Just search Hero and a Half Shell on Michael St. Nicholas fan group, or alternatively, check out the Michael St. Nicholas fan page. Hero and a Half Shell, coming to a computer screen near you soon.
Get stimulated! Biking, hiking, jogging, basketballing. You know these awesome activities work up a man-sized thirst. Climbing, hang gliding, jump roping, arm wrestling. There's only one way to quench that deep, deep thirst. Water won't do it. Electrolytes won't do the job. No, you need to get stimulated with stem cells. Glader Age top hydra scientists, coupled with ever-declining scientific moral standards, have come together to bring you a thirst quencher like no other. Gladerade XY with stem cells. Gladerade XY is the only water replacement hydrotherapy beverage that's fused with human stem cells, the building blocks of life. Get guzzling, get hydrated, get stimulated. Other DNA-based aquatherapy drinks are loaded with junk DNA, hair follicles, or alligator sperm. Only Gladerade XY is fused with 100% human stem cells guaranteed! Get stimulated! Guzzle it deep down and feel those human zygote particles refresh and revitalize every part of your body as only unborn human embryonic tissue can. Chug it down, glug it back, go for broke. Get stimulated with Gladerade XY.
Not for sale in Texas, Alaska, Wisconsin, Arkansas, Kansas, North Carolina, South Carolina, Wyoming, Minnesota, Ohio, Kentucky, Florida, Virginia, West Virginia, Georgia, or Vatican City.
You're listening to Voiceprint with Trevor Devall and Guests.
And we're back with the lovely and talented Lee Tockar. Now, I want to talk to you about, in your long years of doing this work.
Yes.
Many years.
Many
professional years.
Yeah.
What are some moments that stand out for you?
Well, there was this one time when I killed a fella.
Right in the booth.
Right in the booth. See, a young upstart could do all the voices I could do, you know. Really thought he was something. Really on the rise he was. Killed him. Dead. There. Where he stood. That's about
That was
it.
good. That was a big one. Big one.
That's what really stands out for me there for some reason.
Yeah. There's been a lot. I mean, I'm very lucky. I'm very fortunate. And this is the greatest job in the world. This is what class clowns do when they grow up and realize they don't have any other applicable social skills.
Boy, tell me about it.
So there you go. I mean, I'm really happy with my career, everything, and it's getting, everything is great. Everything is great. The most memorable was my first, though.
Yeah?
Yeah. It was working for Wally Burr on Conan the Destroyer, Adventurer. And as some of you who filled in my Wikipedia page already know, I have a slight visual impairment, but legally blind. So can't really drive a car, but nobody else would know because to look at me, you can't really tell. Right. But it's my dark secret. Not anymore. But conal dystrophy, very rare. But the Wally Burr, off in his infinite wisdom on a boat somewhere with his little cabin boy, massaging the bunions on his luxurious alabaster feet.
Oh my goodness!
The line read, because I was fighting this dragon. I was a warrior. It was my first time doing prelay. I was fighting this dragon, and it had blinded me with this fire in my eyes. Right, and so the line was, "I'm blind," and he just wanted to. He wasn't there. He didn't know I couldn't see very well, and whatever. Only Doug Parker and Scott McNeil and Phil Hayes really knew that I couldn't see very well. So I had to say it 4, 5, 6, 7 times in a row, over and over and over again. Yeah, that was
man,
trial by fire. Because I was so worried that, I can't see very well. I'm never going to fit in. I'm going to have to get them to blow the scripts up for me a little bit. It's going to be, I'm never going to get it. I want to be a voice actor and I'm never going to get in. And that was my first gig. I had to scream to this room of strangers, I'm blind. So, trial by fire.
Trial by fire.
Trial by stone. Trial by stone. Trial by stone. So, yeah. Damn you, Oliver.
Now, you mentioned before that you did 15 years of stand-up.
Yeah.
So how did you wind up getting into this crazy business that we call voiceover?
I did impersonations when I was a kid. When I was a little kid, I used to do talent shows when I was 7, 8, 9. And I used to impersonate Kermit the Frog, hi ho, Kermit the Frog here, that kind of thing. Yeah. When I was younger, I did it much better, of course, now they do now. They've got people who do that sort of thing now, But I used to do those, and then I started doing stand-up in Kelowna. And I loved it. I loved doing so. I was the regular host at Flashbacks in Kelowna for years. And anytime I could get up on stage and do funny for people, I would. And then when I moved here, as soon as I graduated from Kelowna Secondary School, I hopped on a bus the next day and I was gone. No looking back. And I went to my first midweek Wednesday night thing at Laugh Lines in
New West.
At Punchlines. No, not Punchlines either. It was the Yuck Yucks in the Plaza of Nations. Mark Dennison was the manager there. Right. And I went for my first amateur stand-up 5-minute whatever, and there had been people that have been doing it for years and stuff, and I went up first time and I got a weekend gig. He said, you're very funny, because I did this little thing where I was clicking around these pretend channels, and I would click from voice to voice to voice. And that was my little shtick, and I thought it was a fun little gimmick, because I do all these silly voices. And I got a weekend gig out of it, and all these old buggers that were sitting around going, damn you, kid, I've been at this living out of a suitcase for 20 years, you son of a...
I've been telling pee-pee jokes for 13 years without nothing. I don't know what it is. Is it the material? Can't be.
I got 3 pounds of airplane peanut jokes that says I'm here, I'm the one, I'm the king of this mountain, you little pissane.
I got lots of stuff that begin with "Did you ever notice?" and "How about that?" And
exactly.
Oh,
a little upstart coming in here with your click on the dial.
So did you come from theater? Did you have any sort of formal training, or you were just doing voices since you were a kid and you worked it into a stand-up?
I was a kid, and then stand-up.
So how did you wind up going from stand-up into this business?
No money in stand-up.
But were you aware that there was a thriving industry?
Yeah, there was, because I always wanted to be, I know this is going to sound trite and it's going to sound ridiculous and right. But when I was a kid, I was 6 years old, walking down Bernard Avenue in Kelowna, and I was walking hand in hand with my mom, and I said I wanted to grow up to be a cartoon. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what that meant until I was still living at home, fast forward 10 years, and I'm 16, and I heard somebody on the radio from Vancouver talking about the courses that you can take here. And I was like, oh, people get paid to do the silly voices with the cartoons? That's what I want. That's what I mean. And then it was like, and for $390, you too give me a funny voice guy. And I'm like, I'm living at home still. I'm not, okay? I'm living in my parents' basement. I got nothing. I got a pound of belly button lint. What do you need? I got nothing. And so when I moved to... the reason I got out of stand-up was because I went to the Union of BC Performers, and I went in there to Andy Krieger and some other people there, and I says, I want to be your next voice coach. And they said, who the hell are you? And I said, I'm Lee Tockar from Kelowna, and I do funny voices, and I'm a writer as well, and so I had my class itinerary in my back pocket, and how I would plan on... And then I taught there. I was their head coach for 3 years at the Union of BC Performers. Until I started to get, until I got a Kokanee gig doing a Kokanee spot, and then I started to get so many gigs I didn't have time to teach anymore, and that's my little history.
Is history,
yes.
As they say.
Yeah. So in answer to the question, what to tell people for advice and things, you gotta have really big cojones, and you gotta believe that you can do things that you've never done before, and lie a lot. You gotta get drunk with the right people. You've got to be prepared to lie and say, "Oh, of course I know how to task me if I know how to. Of course I know how to do that. Who doesn't know how to do that?"
Well, I mean, the fact is, it's not like, it's not like applying for a job where you're operating heavy machinery. Well, of course I know how to operate this giant drill beside this orphanage. I mean, it's because, there's really no harm you can do in saying, well, of course I know how to make silly voices.
Yes.
Of course, you had better actually know
Being
what you're
able to-
doing.
yeah.
Otherwise, because, there have been cases as we know, of people trying to get in the business who have played that card, who have been like, oh, yeah, I can do this, no problem, all right. And fired instantly. Like, there was a show.
And never working again.
Yes.
What was the show?
well,
Wait, this sounds like gossip.
Well, it is.
Prepare yourselves, people.
But I can't say the show. But there was a show recently that
Can we beep this part out? Can we beep this part out and you tell me who, and then I can come back going, oh, I can't believe it. It really, why? I always suspected, but I never had any proof.
So in the show, they hired this guy to play the lead, and he was new. I think he was an on-camera kind of guy.
Yeah.
But he comes in, and I wasn't there for this, but I heard from the people that were there on the first day. They were waiting for the producers to come up from Los Angeles, and they were in the studio, and he walked in the room, and it was all the usual suspects, the regular folks who work with us, and they're sort of waiting there, and he comes in, and he starts going, hey, how you doing? Yeah, I'm such and such. Hey, how are you doing? Yeah, exactly. I'm this guy. Yeah, right. And introducing himself as the character name constantly. Yeah. Oh, who you playing? Oh, yeah. Well, I'm this guy. All right. Okay, good to see you. Yeah. And apparently, he got in there, and an hour later was fired.
Nice.
Because he didn't know what he was doing.
There you go.
And I like to think he got fired because a bit of a prick.
Yeah, a bit of a prick. A bit of a know-it-all.
Because you have to admit, that sort of attitude, it's really, like the prima donna attitude, that's not a really
You better have
helpful.
back. You got to have something to back that up.
Yeah, like 20
man.
years of history.
Yeah, something.
And even then, it's just
if you can't sustain a voice, if you can go in, even if you get the audition, and I don't know, I haven't listened to a lot of your shows before about the advice section of this show, but a big part of the advice would, because I taught for a lot of years too, and so it was always you go in with an audition with a great voice, but if you can't sustain it, don't do it, because you'll be 2 shows in, and the producers are they'll be in the other room in the fishbowl going, this kid can't do it. What the hell was that? He did a really fun. Play that back. What was that audition he did? What's that thing he did? Can you do that again? Because he can't do that. And then you're fired, and you'll never be seen or heard from again, except, can I have your order, please?
Yeah, that'll be the voice work you do, coming through the
talking clown head. Would you like fries with that, sir?
But I mean, I think you'd agree that by and large, the people that we work with are all stand-up folks.
Absolutely.
They're all excellent people that realize that it's just a job in the end of the day. And we're just we're a bunch of regular kooks. But what would you say, in your opinion, Lee, what do you think is the one thing, if there is one thing, or maybe a couple things, if they jump into mind, that sort of, that all of the people who work in Vancouver have in common? What would you say that might be? Like the voice actors.
I think it is a respect for each other's talent. And we rip each other off every single day. I think half of the stuff I do I got from other people, and I know most of the stuff that you people are doing you got from me. You got it from me.
So it is sort of an interesting thing. It's sort of an interesting thing because at the same time, yeah, you're right. There is the respect there, and yet at the same time, well, I respect you so much, I'm going to use your bit. Because it's fine. But nobody can ever truly do another person's bit, so it's always like an homage if you're going to do it at all.
That is a nice little side shuffle there.
I just thought
hey, that's my bit. Oh no, it's an homage to you. It's my homage to you.
Because I respect the work you do. Yes, I do.
Yes, I do.
Yes, I do.
Yes, I do.
Yes, I do
respect your work. I'm getting paid for what you could have done. Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Yes. Well, I couldn't agree with you more, actually.
No, I mean, the people that I and you work with in this town, again, don't know about L.A. or New York, heard great stories, very professional, yada, yada. I just have the most respect for all these people that I work with because they're great actors and they are all very humble. We're very humble people.
Yeah, in the end of the day, it's not really about
I think
ego.
we're the most humble people
I've ever met.
I mean, we're way more humble than New York. And I mean, we're
completely
so
humble.
much more humble than LA.
And I like to think that I'm humble and modest. Oh,
you know what? You are.
I really am. The most modest, I'd say.
The most.
Nobody's more modest than me.
But yeah, humble and respectful and great talent. Really, really awesome talent. And when you work with people that are that good, of that high caliber, it really you shake your head after a while and you go, wow, I made it. I'm in amongst a crowd.
The A-list.
Yeah, well, they can hold their own, you can hold your own, and when you feel like, wow, it's banter and it's fun, and then then you have the fun. Then it becomes the game.
And the fun helps the gold come out in the session.
Exactly.
Like the performances, because it's always easier when you're working with people that you do respect and that make it easy for you to do your job. I know that's the case I feel every single time I do a relay show. Yeah. I'm in there with a bunch of professionals who are excellent people and so much fun to be around, and it just makes me do better work.
Absolutely.
So
yeah. We make each other better performers.
We do.
You're doing Richard Cox.
Ever since he did the last Voiceprint episode, I can't stop doing that weirdo sort of pedophile voice.
I just want you to know, listeners, that this is what he sounds like all the time. Yes, it is. Yeah. Which is a little off-putting.
Okay, let's see what Martin has in the mailbag.
Martin's mailbag.
There you go. Insert comment here. This is what I love about the fact that none of the guests actually listen to the show, so they have no idea that there's a sheep coming. And there's always a little bit here. I enjoy the bit, the comments.
I thought I was being paid with the sheep.
Dolly, get over here. You're the prize. Oh, you're the prize. So, Martin from YTV has a few things to tell us. On Teletoon, you can find Lee Tockar as George on George of the Jungle and Bling Bing Boy / Eugene of Johnny Test. You may also recognize Lee as Ravage from Beasties and Yakety Yak from Yakety Yak, which is something that we didn't cover in the history section.
That was a very fun one.
Martin also wants to know if, let's see if you or any of the other voice actors, meaning me and you and everybody else who comes in the show, he's got a bit of a riddle for us. And here's the riddle.
Ooh.
What do Brian Drummond, Kathy Westluck, Kathleen Barr, Tabitha St. Germain, Trevor Devall, Scott McNeil, Colin Murdoch, Lee Tockar, Sam Vincent, Gary Chalk, and Nicole Oliver have in common in 2009? The answer will start coming in January on YTV. Are they going to air those sex tapes of us? I'm pretty sure that's
that
what
film
they're
was
talking
grainy.
about
That could have been anybody's ass.
That's quite a list there, Marty.
Wow.
Are they all on TV? That's what I say. Anyway, let's see if anybody can figure that one out.
That's a good one.
I have a couple of letters to read from you, my loyal listeners. Just a couple. The first one
It's from Izzy. She says, I just wanted to thank you for helping me out indirectly on one of the issues that has occurred in my life recently. My great-grandmother had a stroke and ended up passing away a few days ago. This caught everyone in my family off guard and shook things up for us. I'm a bit more standoffish than most of the people in my family, so a few times I would go and hang out by myself to chill out. Unfortunately, I found that just listening to music and talking on MSN wasn't getting me anywhere. I just couldn't wind down. So while I was wildly flipping through my music, I clicked on the Scott McNeil episode of your podcast, and it made me feel better. My family noted that I was sitting in the corner smirking away at Scott's liquid nitrogen Black Lagoon joke. So over the past few days, I've listened to many of the episodes again, and they have been working a fair bit. So, danke. Well, that is awesome.
Nice.
Thank you so much for that. That's
nice.
Yeah, that's great to know that we can put a smile on your face sometimes, especially if you're feeling down. So we will try to keep doing that for sure.
Yeah.
And on a happier note, Melissa writes in to tell us that she's an auntie now. My little brother and his girlfriend had their baby on Tuesday, which was a couple weeks ago. So he's so cute, and she sent me a little pic. Oh, send me a little pic.
Yeah, look at that.
So thanks for that little update, Melissa.
Congratulations, Melissa.
On to some questions. First one is from Caitlin. Hi, Trevor and Lee. Being a resident of the forever cold Northwest Territories, Canada, I wanted to ask, cold weather or hot, and why?
Always keep them out. Let them grow. That's the Whiskers from the Miracle on 34th Street. Yeah.
For me, there's no question. Hot, hot, hot. The hotter, the better. I was in the jungle this summer, and I would go back if I had a career there. But aside from being eaten by mosquitoes, there's not much of a career for me to have there. So hot, hot, hot. In fact, hot is the reason why, or rather not hot, but not cold is the reason why I left Edmonton. Because as much as Edmonton was my home for many, many years, it's so goddamn cold in the winter I couldn't handle it anymore. So I came out here to the rain, but slightly warmer.
Yeah.
So, yes. What about you?
My lovely lady, Polly, her mom lives in Maui on Kanapali Beach, so I'm pretty happy about that.
Wow.
So we get to stay there a lot. But myself, don't really like it. I'm more of a cold, and I'm drizzly. I have friends in Edinburgh, Scotland, that I want to go there. I like Ireland. I like Scotland. Dublin again for the people doing the yes. I'm just saying that again. Just Dublin is a really good convention. Just saying that. But Ireland, Scotland, England. I want to go there. I want to live in a castle somewhere, an old rubble heap somewhere in northern Scotland.
With a cold that gets right into your joints,
right into your joints.
bones.
Yeah.
Boy,
if you fall, you break in a million pieces.
That's right. This is from Daniela, one of our regular listeners and contributors to the show. She says, "Yo, bling bling boy, are you serious?" Anyway, her question is, are you ticklish? And if so, where?
Well, let me see. Just
there it is.
Wait a minute. No, not really. Thank you for asking, though.
She does want us to talk a little bit about the writing process, which is
something we've done.
A great question for you and I.
It is. Would you like to flag this one?
Sure.
Intrepid host?
I will begin a little bit. As I mentioned before, Lee and myself have written several episodes of Yamroll. And what I found with you was that our process was like you were all about the crazy cartoony gags. And I was all about the structure of the story.
Yeah, you're a hammer and a nail. Okay, calm down a little, man. Just sit down and shut up for a second. We've got to have some form here. You're a stickler for form, man.
I was a bit of a Nazi with that.
It's a good.
It was a great show. Lee would be like, "Oh, this would be funny," and then if the guy just jumps in the sky, and then I know a different thing, and there's a car somewhere and a big smile. Yeah, and I'd be like, yes, that's funny. Just we have to put it in context. Car, you're talking about a smiling car. There's no car in this episode.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, definitely, it was a good yin and yang. And I've got some stuff. Hopefully, I'm going to be producing. I hope. I'm keeping my fingers crossed, and I would love to work with you again.
That's the thing. Now, I don't know if a lot of you know this, but Lee Tockar is quite the entrepreneur. I won't go into details about it, but he has got many, many, many irons in the fire. Actually, I want to talk a little bit about that. You are not only, and I'm sure that not a lot of people know this, but you are not only a very versatile voice actor, but you are also an incredible visual artist. You should see some of the stuff he's done. It's fantastic. Painter, drawings, and also a writer, but can you talk a little bit about...
I just finished doing my 4th and final installment of Billy Brain Rain, which is a children's book thing, and I'm trying to get it out there. So if anybody knows, I have 4 CDs that I'm putting out, and I'm working on the second one. The first one is called Billy Brain Rain's Nighttime Alphabet. The second one is Billy Brain Rain and the Incredible Everywhere Rope. The third one is Billy Brain Rain and the Government Cover-Up Toy Closet. And then the fourth one is Billy Brain Rain and the Super Secret Staircase. They're all like if Harry Potter was written by Dr. Seuss. They're all in iambic pentameter and in a rhyme scheme. It's a rhyming adventure. And I do the illustrations, which are a cross between Edward Gorey and Maurice Sendak, kind of, and a heroin addict.
Just because you're in the right city for it, man.
Yeah.
No, it's cool. And I've seen the recent drafts, and they're really awesome. And it was exactly the kind of thing that I totally would have dug as a kid too. Like I'm looking at that going, because I loved that old, especially the Corey.
Maurice or the Edward Gorey.
The Edward Gorey, rather.
Yeah, mystery theater stuff.
Loved it.
Yeah.
So it's awesome, man. Awesome.
Thank
Very
you.
talented man in many, many different respects.
Thanks, Trev.
This is from, this is cool. This is from Coral, all the way from South Africa.
South Africa.
Dear Mr. Devall, I've enjoyed listening to your podcasts, and I'm particularly looking forward to this one with Mr. Tockar. You guys are excellent voice actors. I first heard you guys through your parts as Mordred and Parman in Dragon Booster.
Hey!
Awesome. I've got 2 questions for both of you. First question. How do you guys come up with and act in the voices that you do? Is it just a talent, or do you train your voices to do the different voices? An example being Mr. Tockar with his playing of the voice of the dumb and destructive Hax in Extreme Dinosaurs.
Oh my God!
And then the voice of the intelligent and terrified Parman Sean in Dragon Booster.
Wow. Well, we get a picture first. Usually the designers give us a picture, and so that is a big help. That's a plus.
Yes.
We get to sort of, if it's a little character, it's a little dragon dinosaur thing, and he's all hunched over,
then you sort of squish him up a little bit, and if he looks a little mean, then, man, and I think Hack sort of sounded like this, if I'm not mistaken, like he had some kind of shell shock or something.
For me, it's the same thing. It's all about the picture and the description. But then my whole thing is that I always go with my first instinct, but with a caveat, because your first instinct is probably going to be the same as most people's first instinct. So that means if you just go with your first instinct, you're going to go in there and 10 other people are doing the exact same thing. Slightly different versions. So my goal is to try and go with my instinct, because that's my strongest choice, but at the same time switch it up with something specific, like some sort of weird accent, or some sort of weird breath pattern, or something that makes the character unique and interesting. Now that's easier to do with really cartoony kind of shows.
Yeah.
But with straight shows, I find it's a little more difficult to do, especially in anime, because when we're doing all these, I was just doing an episode of Nana today at Ocean, and it's a very, very, very straight kind of dramatic show, and playing multiple characters in that kind of show is a challenge, because when you're trying to change up your voice, you don't want to be cartoony with it, but at the same time, your own voice, it's hard to find, ways to change it to make it significantly different from your regular voice.
That's right, yeah.
But that's the challenge of ADR anyway, with anime, so...
Yeah, and like with the Parman Sean thing, I got the job originally.
This is funny. I love this story. Very few people know this.
Because Parman Sean, of course, looks ostensibly like a South Asian. So he has that kind of East Indian kind of look. So I originally I got the job doing him as slightly East Indian sort of thing.
And that was in the description too, if I recall.
It was in the description, and so I had this thing where he was young, but he had this sort of, energetic thing, but he was always, and then the network stepped in and said, hang on a second, now we don't know if we want to offend people. I'm like, yeah, but I'm actually doing him pretty okay.
Yeah,
I'm not offending anybody. It was not a send up at all. And so I had already got the gig. I had already spent the money, and then, I got the nod, so I was very excited. And then they said, well, we're going to have you come back in, and we'd like to know if you could just come up with something a little less ethnic, maybe. And so I was like, oh my God. And then in a brainstorm at 2 a.m, I'm like, bend it like Beckham. Aha! They all sound British! And so I did Parman Sean as a Brit. And when it squeaked by, which was good, because I already bought the stuff I was spent the money.
It's funny because when I auditioned for Mordred, I didn't even realize it was a Prelay series. I came in, I didn't even know it was a Prelay series. I assumed it was an ADR series because I saw the pictures on the wall of all the characters. It's the first time I'd seen them. And it looked like an anime because the way that they described. So when I got the job, I showed up and I was like, oh, do you mean, this is a lot of money. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess I can do that then. And that was a big score for me, too, because I really rarely play the 17-year-olds.
Yeah.
So that was...
yeah, they have people that do that.
They do.
17-year-olds, I hear. Yeah.
Right.
Kill them. Yeah. ADR, the difference between ADR and Prelay is ADR, funny money. Prelay, silly money.
Silly money.
Silly
right.
money.
The second question from Coral, our South African friend, is which convention do you recommend for an out-of-towner? I'm trying to get my parents to take me to a convention for my 21st birthday as a sort of birthday present. Thank you for your time, Mr. Devall and Mr. Tockar. You guys are great. Which convention?
Dublin.
Well, I think she means for her.
No, but if she makes a special recommendation, a special one for me.
I haven't been to some of the huge ones. Huge. I don't know why I'm talking like that all of a sudden. It's a weird one. Yeah, I was like, no way. And then my girl, she was like, no way.
What is that?
That's a guy off. That's a guy off.
That was funny.
And then she was like,
It sounds.
That's that guy off Family Guy.
That's
he sort of shows up every now and then, and I was like, this guy.
Oh, I like it. I like it very much. Yes. If you can live a bit longer.
Yes, I see. Anyway, so I don't really know what the best answer for that is. The convention to go for your 21st birthday, out of towner. Well, you're flying a long way if you're coming from South Africa. So I might say Comic-Con is a good one to do in San Francisco or San Diego. I think it's San Diego, actually, they do it.
I'm not the one to ask. Well, I've only been to one.
If you want to come to Canada, the Toronto conventions are good. And of course, I'm going to plug Anime Evolution that they do here in Burnaby in August because they're great guys, and I've done a number of them, and they're always they have treated both Lee and myself well. Yeah. So you know what? That's the official recommendation right there.
There you go.
Is Anime Evolution.
Nice.
Moving on, this is a listener, Michael from Toronto. Again, long-time listener and long-time writer.
The Big Smoke.
It's great to have Voiceprint back after its long hiatus. First off, congratulations to both of you fine guys. Trevor, congrats on landing the role of Patrick Colasauer in Gundam 00. Someone who isn't Mulaflaga. Yes, indeed. That's funny. Can't wait to see your performance. And congrats to Lee on his recent victory for Best Voice for George of the Jungle.
Hey!
Lee, you totally rock. I'm a big fan of Yakety Yak and Higsby, too. That's interesting because I forgot about that. You won that award.
Yeah, the Electronic Animation Award, presented by Seth MacFarlane. Oh, my God. I got on stage, and he's like, hey, congratulations, Lee. And I got back. He's like, hey, because I accepted the thing for Best Male Voiceover Artist of the year in animation for the electronic animation, and I got the award, and I'm like, ooh. And I went backstage, and he had his hand out, and he goes, hey, way to go, Lee. And I'm like, you don't know me. You're Seth MacFarlane, man.
I know. That's he's pretty cool. He's sort of, I worship at his altar myself.
He was drinking a bit of bourbon, and
I heard that.
And he said, sorry, I might smell a bit like bourbon, and I said, well, can I? And he gave me a sip of his bourbon, and I really felt like,
oh my God, so really? You drink the backwash of Seth MacFarlane? Oh my God! Michael has two questions for the both of us. One, since you've both played characters in Mega Man NT Warrior, which I miss with all my heart, if you could have done your own net navi, what would their names be and what would their power be? Ooh. Well, I was pretty happy with Mr. Match's net navi, whose name escapes me. It was like Torchman. That was it, Torchman.
Oh,
time to burn.
You were Torchman.
No, I was Mr. Match. I was the Scottish guy. The Scottish guy who actually
controls
Torchman. Yes.
Mr. Match and Torchman. So he was good. So I don't think I'd have to do anything other than that. He was grand. What about you?
Oh, I was a woodsman. I was woodsman. And I loved him because he had this big voice, and I got him from Rug Doctor, steaming mad at dirt. So I ripped that off and made him big. nigger. Yes.
You know, and just going back to that other question about where we come up with the voices, that's a huge thing. Like Lee talks about how we rip each other off. That's not just us ripping each other off. That's ripping popular culture off.
Oh, God, yeah.
Constantly.
Yeah.
Because anything goes in cartoons, man. Question number 2. Being that the Gundam universe is so big in North America, if you had the opportunity to be at the controls of your own mobile suit, what would you do with it? And would it be for good or evil? Thanks, and keep up the awesome work. I have to say that being the good Christian boy that I was raised to be, I would have to use that suit for pure evil. Pure and complete evil.
Unadulterated.
I would use it. I would rob banks.
Yeah.
I'd probably not shoot anybody because I'm not really into
well,
that.
you don't need it. You've got all that money.
Well, I do.
You know, you can hire people.
Yes, why?
Don't
I mean,
dirty
you've
your
already
hands.
smashed things.
Yeah.
No need to cap it
Don't
off.
bloody up your super suit.
No, really no need for it. So yeah, evil. It would be a large one with guns. That's what I don't really know the classifications of them all. But what about you? Good or evil? What do you think?
I'm gonna have to go with pacifist on this. I'd probably turn it inside out and do a lot of things to myself.
Best answer ever.
Yeah.
This next one is from our friend Evan in Edmonton.
That's so ridiculous. I just sort of caught the connotations of what I just said. Well, I didn't have the filter on.
Things that come out of your head.
Yes.
Evan says, "Hi, Trevor. I'm so busy at school lately, for I'm in grade 9 now.
Right.
And I'm preparing for high school. Hey. So my question to Mr. Tockar is, what was school like for you before going to high school?"
Oh my God, it was hell. It was hell until I realized that unless you stop caring about what people think about you, you are going to be living a life of pure evil and hell and terrible. Yeah, it was terrible because people pick on you and kids are mean. And then I stopped caring about what people thought about me doing my stupid voices and picking on me for being an idiot and couldn't see very well as well. So yeah, try that one on. That's an ill-fitting left foot. So so yeah, and then when I stopped caring, then I became cool.
Isn't that ironic?
Yeah.
How it works.
So stop caring.
That's some awesome advice, dude. Don't let the bastards drag you down.
That's right there. Because everybody wakes up in the morning without a clue why. So you might as well just pick your own reason and invent yourself and reinvent yourself and be the person that you want to be.
That's actually the best advice I think I've heard ever. Really, it's awesome. That's like, and I couldn't agree more with you. Oh, you're so hardly. Let's see. I think this one's from Melissa again. She says, "Not able to think of anything witty at the moment." So she's going to make her question short and sweet. Out of Rachel, Monica, and Phoebe, which female friend is your favorite?
Which one was one married to Brad?
Rachel.
Her, yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Phoebe too ditzy, Rachel or the other one? Monica too anal. Everything's all neat and tidy and...
Oh, I just about made a terrible joke.
No, don't. Nah, sorry. It's all right. You've got all these fancy sound effects. You can bleep it all out.
Fancy garage band sound effects. Royalty free. Yes, I'd have to say that growing up, I had a bit of a crush on Rachel myself. But now I'm deeply in love with my girlfriend.
Oh, that's
there
beautiful.
You go. I really am.
What about Ginger or Marianne? See, that's more my generation. I'm mid-30s now.
Yeah, me too. And Ginger was sexy.
Ginger was sexy, but I had a crush on Marianne.
Yeah, she had the girl next door thing going on. And you just know she's a dirty
girl. Dirty girl.
You just know she's dirty.
Yes, she'd be easily convinced to do things that she could never tell her pastor about.
No. Probably because the pastor was busy
doing them. How old was the person asking this question? Hang on a second.
Wait a minute.
We might have to bleep out some more stuff.
What's our rating on this show? I don't even know.
Sorry about that.
It's my podcast, and I'll swear if I want to. This last one is from Lisa. Hello from Lisa here in the Maryland of Oz, as in Australia.
Right on.
As a recent fan to your podcast, you're the best. Oh, thank you so much. And now a question to you, Trevor, and everyone in Canada. Would you ever like to come to an Australian con? And if you could, who would you bring? The answer is yes, hello, get on it. And who would I bring? Obviously, Lee.
Oh, love it. That's a wonderful response.
Seriously, Lisa, if you can do anything to, get us down there.
Absolutely.
Just you got it.
You gotta just write your convention.
That'd be much appreciated.
Yeah, if you could write your con and get them to bring us down, that'd be pretty good.
It would be pretty good.
We could be pretty fun for the Australians.
And if you think that Lee should be called back to do another episode, you can bleep this out later, Trevor. Then you phone in and you call him in and you say that Lee Tockar, boy, he was the funniest guest that he's ever had on there.
Did we mention how humble and modest we were? Yes, I believe we did.
I'm the most humble you're ever going to find.
That does it for our questions, and that pretty much brings us to the end of our show.
Trevor Devall, intrepid host, thank you very much for having me. This has been, honestly, a very, very fun experience.
Well, thanks for coming, man. You're a great guest, and I'll have you back once I start recycling.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, well, let's see. We've had Scott McNeil on 6 times. Who do we got? We got, what's the bottom of the, what's this under the desk? Hey, Lee Tokar's resume.
Is he still hanging around? Actually, sir, he never left the building.
Oh, okay. Well, get him in here.
I'm hungry. Give me something to eat.
Our next guest is going to head up episode 19, of course, which is our next episode. And this is a guest that some of you have been clamoring to hear from. The one, the only, Mr. Kirby Morrow is going to be our guest.
Hey.
He's back now from his world travels, and he's in town, and he's ready to tack some shop.
The rash is cleared right up.
So if you have any questions for Kirby, as I'm sure you do, don't forget to send them in to Voiceprint at TrevorDevall.com. And as always, if you have any comments, concerns, or questions for me, you can send them in to fans at TrevorDevall.com. Don't forget, the contest is still going. If you have advertised Voiceprint with Trevor Devall and Guests, and you can prove it, then send a link in or something like that to fans at TrevorDevall.com or Voiceprint. It doesn't really matter. I get both. That's it for me. That's it for Lee. Thanks again, pal.
Thank you very much, listeners, and thank you, Trevor.
All right. Take care, kids, and we will see you on the flip side.